Now, amid reports of explosions around Caracas, the US Federal Aviation Administration has issued a new NOTAM prohibiting US aircrafts from operating at all altitudes within Venezuelan airspace as of 6 a.m. local time today, the 3rd of January. I have Malvika Pandey joining me with more details. Malvika, what more can you tell us?
Well, absolutely, Vaishali. We have with us the NOTAM issued by the US Aviation Authority, and what you can see over here is that all US aircrafts have been prohibited from flying over Venezuelan airspace, and the report also specifies that this is due to the hazardous situation in the region. So this is the NOTAM that has been issued. Now, what is in fact very interesting right now is this visual that we have over here. Now, over here you can see this live flight tracker which shows you the Venezuelan airspace, and as you can see, this entire region, it's completely empty. The entire airspace over the country has completely been emptied out. All around you can see aircraft flying, but they are all avoiding the border of Venezuela. And this, of course, just before this, we've seen the NOTAM issued by the US for its aircraft. But as we can see that as soon as the reports of this explosion came, now it's not just military but any commercial flights are also completely avoiding this Venezuelan airspace. And this live flight tracker, this is the situation over there currently. This shows you that the entire area is completely empty. Venezuela and the surrounding area, you can see that no military or commercial flights are being allowed to go over there, and this of course comes after all of the explosions that we have been seeing. Reports of at least 7 explosions in the capital city of Caracas, which is very close to the coast. And you can see right now that it's not just the coastal area, and it's not just the region where the explosions were reported, but the entire country's airspace has been completely vacated and is being avoided by any and all aircrafts. Yes, Vaishali, back to you.
Okay, now I want to go across to Group Captain UK Devnath. Now, Group Captain Devnath, this is a rather interesting development that we're hearing about, this NOTAM that has been issued by the US. How do you see this development?
Definitely, this NOTAM has been issued with a view to warn all the international civil aviation aircraft to keep away from Venezuelan aerospace. What happens that US Air Force aircraft, their helicopters and drones are right now attacking various targets in Venezuela. Definitely, reconnaissance drones also will be flown to carry out assessment of post-attack bomb damage assessment. This is a precaution taken so that no other aircraft of belonging to any other country enters that airspace. Venezuela also has some small limited number of S-300 air defense missile systems. So, by accident, Venezuelan Air Force also may by mistake hit some civilian aircraft with their S-300 air defense missile systems. So, issue of such NOTAMs is a standard procedure to keep international civil aviation flights out of the contested airspace. Yes.
Okay, now this is quite interesting, viewers, a sudden development, and I want to now also go across to Ambassador Yogesh Gupta. All right, we don't have Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, so I want to go across to Wing Commander S. Sudhakaran, former Indian Air Force officer. Wing Commander Sudhakaran, what are the conditions that lead to a NOTAM like this being issued?
This is a precautious move as far as I see. I think Group Captain Devnath has already covered it. But then, what I can add is because, see, an enemy like Venezuela can only retaliate in so many ways. So if there is a civilian aircraft in the crossfire, the damage or the kind of repercussions that it could cause to a democratic society like US will be huge. and therefore it could be seen as a potential target. And Venezuela cannot be blamed during a combat situation wherein it has come under attack. Because mind you, it is not the aggressor here. The aggressor is the US, and in the right of self-defense, if in case they fire any of their missiles, knowing even knowingly, they will still say, our people didn't know it was a transport aircraft. And if it gets fired, you're talking about 200, 300 people, right? People's life. And that could be seen as these countries will see it as some kind of a leverage against the Americans. So that's why they are exercising precaution. And the best thing is don't get into that kind of area. And this is pretty normal par for the course. In most conflict zones, you may remember that the same thing happened during Operation Sindoor also, that the entire geography was bypassed by all the airlines, given the kind of fires that was being exchanged from both sides of the border. In fact, you would also see that Pakistan had used the camouflage of civilian aircrafts to, deceive, and that kind of news also came out. So it is pretty par for the course to issue this kind of an instruction in the air. NOTAM is generally given under such circumstances.
I want to go across now to Major General G.G. Dwivedi. Now, Major General G.G. Dwivedi, I want to ask you now, basically, how do you think this particular move will be seen globally? And just if I ask you, what do you see preceding this attack? What do you think will follow?
Well, Vishali, point is that today diplomacy has been weaponized, and coercion of the opponent is the order of the day. And President Trump actually resort to hard bargaining negotiation. So this is one of the ways that he will ensure that President Maduro and the regime comes to the negotiation table on his terms. So this is, I think, one of the prelude to ensure that his aims or his national interest or American national interest are well protected. But then, any operation or any hostility are two-sided. It's not given that Maduro will oblige President Trump. Well, he has the certain capability to stand up. So in that case, it could escalate. But the point is that Venezuela is no match for the American forces. It will be one-sided. But then, as I said earlier, there's a good chance that it could lead to a proxy war and a lot of diplomatic shadow boxing in the various platforms. But there are two options, which first one is Maduro will come to negotiate, which is most likely because this will threaten his regime and he wants to hold on. So therefore, best option for him, low cost option is to negotiate, and he has already given indication that he is open to dialogue. But in case he doesn't do, then more such strikes will follow until he is brought to the negotiation table. And today, as I said, we are in the era where diplomacy, where politics and economy are weaponized, and open use of force is the new normal of the day, Vishali.
All right. Major Mohammad Ali Shah, defense expert. Major Mohammad Ali Shah, if I directly ask you this question, now what do you think is the motive, simply put, behind this attack?
Right, Vishali, for practical purposes, for the world, it is narcotics, drugs, Venezuela. But the actual reason of how I perceive it is the regime change in America. Donald Trump is not happy with the way things are going, and he had this attack was expected. But it was expected, but was Venezuela prepared for it? Venezuela was not prepared for it. Now the golden question here, I see it as China and Russia. They could be stepping into the fray not because they want to support Venezuela directly, but want to do some action against America. And any chance of oppressing or putting America down would not be missed by them. So Russia and China will, what I perceive it as, they will come in the front line, they come in the forefront, and they will directly support Venezuela. Iran and North Korea will not support directly Venezuela, but they would give all the other support possible, like psychological, helping them indirectly. Well, America has not been of late. America and India's relationship have taken a beating. They have not been very good. From 25%, President Donald Trump puts it again 25% tariff. That means 50% tariff. And not just that, it doesn't end there. He also calls our enemy, that's Pakistan, and he calls them over. I would call it as terror funding when he gives a loan to IMF to Pakistan. When America gives loan to Pakistan, I would call it personally. I would call it terror funding. If he calls failed Marshal Asim Munir over to White House, I would call it that you are giving shelter to terrorists, because I don't consider Pakistani army and terrorists any different. They are the same as far as I am concerned. They have proved in 1999 when the Pakistani army had infiltrated into India as terrorists wearing civil clothes. But when we shot them, we found Pakistani regular identity card from them. So now the stance, it is going to be a very tricky situation, because if Russia and China do not come in the forefront, till now, China has not attacked Taiwan, and there have been other instances because they are thinking, okay, because Taiwan has got American support. And if Russia and China does not come in, which means that China's fear, or I would call it preventive, psychological preventive measures, America supporting Taiwan, that will go down the line and that will go for a six. So China and Russia, I have a feeling they are going to come full forward in support of Venezuela over here. At the same time, I would say it was not just a preventive strike; it was also America has been wanting this to happen for quite some time, and finally they did it. They have attacked Venezuela, and Venezuela said they, though it's a work of diplomacy, I agree, but then Venezuela has said that they would not keep quiet; they would give a befitting reply, like the way Ukraine has been held by NATO, and they fought the war. They've stretched it for 4 years plus so far. Similarly, Venezuela wasn't prepared. It's a country. They would be receiving support from China and Russia, so they would be getting back to